Okay, no, 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 no. We want to that apartheid woman. We want that apartheid. This is it. No, no, no.
And that then ended up in a situation where rubber bullets had to be fired, and as I understand it, several people were also.
Welcome back to Voxtrends, the home of stories that shape South Africa and the continent. If you want clear, fearless storytelling that breaks down the biggest issues in simple language, make sure you subscribe right now, turn on notifications, and join the Voxtrends community. Your support helps us keep bringing you stories that matter. Tonight's story takes us to Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, to a place that should symbolize healing, care, and hope. Instead, it became the center of tension, anger, and a national debate that refuses to go away. Addington Hospital, one of the busiest public hospitals in the province, turned into a frontline in South Africa's ongoing immigration crisis, and what happened there has sparked outrage, praise, fear, and deep questions about the future of public services in this country. On what began as an ordinary day, patients lined up outside Addington Hospital, as they always do. Mothers holding babies, elderly men leaning on walking sticks, young people waiting patiently, hoping to see a doctor before nightfall. Public hospitals in South Africa are under massive pressure. Long queues, staff shortages, limited beds, and exhausted nurses have become the norm. For many South Africans, especially the poor, these hospitals are the only option. Then came a civic group known as March and March. This group has been gaining attention in recent months for its activism around immigration and access to public services. Their message is simple but controversial. South African public services should prioritize South Africans first. On this day, March and March members positioned themselves outside Addington Hospital. They claimed they were there to inspect and identify undocumented foreigners who, in their view, were overwhelming an already strained healthcare system. At first, the scene appeared tense but controlled. March and March members questioned patients, asking for identification and proof of legal status. Some patients complied quietly. Others looked confused, uncomfortable, or afraid. Hospital staff watched nervously. Security guards stood alert, unsure of how far this situation would go. For supporters of March and March, this was seen as community action. They argue that government has failed to enforce immigration laws and protect public resources. They believe that undocumented foreigners place an unfair burden on hospitals, schools, and social services. To them, this was about survival, dignity, and fairness.
Joining me, look, from the visuals that we saw, and I mean, it's now well documented on social media what exactly transpired here. It looked like things got very violent. What was the catalyst? How did we get to that point from what I understand to be a peaceful protest outside?
Okay, so basically what happened was we came here this morning. As normal, we are enhancing Section 17, where we are checking the identification of anyone that is coming to the hospital. We are only allowing the South African citizens, which is taxpayers of South Africa, into this hospital so that they can get the medication and so forth, because we had quite a few complaints where they were complaining that they're not getting the medication.
But critics saw something very different. They accused the group of vigilantism, harassment, and playing the role of the state without legal authority. Human rights activists warned that this kind of action could easily turn violent, targeting vulnerable people and undermining the rule of law. Those warnings would soon feel painfully real. According to reports from the scene, tensions escalated rapidly. What started as verbal confrontations turned physical. Allegedly, some undocumented Somali and Ethiopian nationals became aggressive. Shouting matches broke out, pushing followed. Chaos erupted right there on the sidewalk outside a hospital meant to save lives. Witnesses say the violence did not stop with clashes between March and March members and foreign nationals. Shockingly, the anger spilled over toward the South African Police Service officers who had arrived to monitor the situation. Stones were reportedly thrown, Officers were confronted. In that moment, the situation crossed a dangerous line. This is where the name Mkhwanazi entered the national conversation. Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the KwaZulu-Natal SAPS commissioner, is known for his tough stance on law and order. In KZN, his reputation is that of a no-nonsense leader who does not tolerate attacks on police authority. When SAPS officers came under threat outside Addington Hospital, the response was swift and forceful. Police deployed rubber bullets to disperse the crowd. Arrests were made. Sirens cut through the air. Patients scattered. What should have been a place of healing turned into a scene that looked more like a riot zone. Videos quickly spread on social media. Some showed police firing rubber bullets. Others showed injured individuals running for cover. The internet exploded with opinions, accusations, and political statements. South Africa was once again divided. Supporters of the police response praised SAPS for restoring order. They argued that no one, regardless of nationality, has the right to attack police officers. They saw this as a clear message that lawlessness would not be tolerated, and that South Africans would be protected. Yet others ask a harder question. Is force alone enough to solve this problem this deep? Rubber bullets can disperse a crowd, but they cannot fix broken systems. Arrests can restore calm for a day, but they do not address overcrowded hospitals, weak border control, or slow immigration processes. As night fell over Durban, Addington Hospital slowly returned to something resembling normalcy. Patients resumed waiting, doctors continued working, but the tension lingered. Everyone knew this was not an isolated incident, it was a symptom of something much bigger. Politicians weighed in. Some called for stricter border enforcement, others urged calm and respect for human rights. Civil society groups warned against xenophobia, reminding the nation of past violence that left scars still visible today. On the streets, ordinary South Africans talked. Taxi ranks buzzed with debate. WhatsApp groups filled with voice notes. Some said, "Enough is enough, we are struggling." Others said, "Violence will destroy us all." This is the uncomfortable space South Africa finds itself in, a country built on ideals of dignity and equality, yet facing economic hardship, unemployment, and failing services. A country that opened its doors to the continent, now questioning how much more it can carry. The events at Addington Hospital force us to look in the mirror. What happens when people feel abandoned by the state? What happens when desperation meets anger? And what role should the police play in balancing compassion with law and order? For Voxtrends, our role is not to inflame, but to inform, to tell the story as it unfolds and ask the questions that matter. Because this story is not just about foreigners and hospitals, it's about governance, trust, identity, and the future of South Africa. If you've been watching and you believe these conversations matter, please pause for a moment and subscribe to Voxtrends. It costs you nothing, but it helps us bring balanced, in-depth stories to you every single week. Like the video, share it with others, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. As we move forward, one thing is clear: ignoring this issue is no longer an option. Strong borders, functional immigration systems, properly funded hospitals, and community dialogue are not luxuries, they are necessities. The clash at Addington Hospital will be remembered not just for the rubber bullets or the arrests, but for what it revealed about the state of the nation. A warning sign, a wake-up call. South Africa now stands at a crossroads. The choices made by leaders, police, communities, and citizens will determine whether the country moves towards stability or deeper division. This is Voxtrends. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and remember to subscribe for more stories that go beyond the headlines.